Hey, this is Chris Sietzema from Convince and Convert. I'm going to walk you through a short webinar or a WEBININE that hopefully takes around 9 minutes or so. And today we're going to talk about email delivery rate. There's a lot of tools out there that you guys probably are using for email sending, for sending emails rather. And they all probably talk about delivery rate. And delivery rate, it's a pretty important metric, just like open and click rate and things like that. But delivery rate is basically a measure of the number of people that you send an email to, how many of those actually get to the inbox and thus are successfully delivered. So again, there's a number of tools out there that calculate that percentage for you, but there's also a pretty good independent tool that we recommend called SenderScoreorg. Again, it measures just delivery rates or provides a score, and that score is pretty much an indication of trustworthiness from an email source. So everybody has their own score. It's just a matter of actually going to SenderScoreorg and finding out what your score is. It's free. All you got to do is create an account, and it's actually created by a company called Return Path. So let's take a look at how to calculate your sender score for a second. And for us, we're going to use One Social Thing from Convince and Convert, the daily email, which hopefully you are all signed up to receive. If not, you can do so on this blog. This part is the most tricky. So what SenderScore does is it requires an IP address. And so here's a look at SenderScore.org, and you just have to enter in an IP. The question is, how do you get that? And it's a little bit tricky, but we'll walk you through it. Hopefully it'll be easy. I'll just run through how to do it on Gmail, but on other email clients it's very similar. So basically take this little drop down here and find Show Original. Okay, and at this point what we want to do is we want to find out where it was received from. So here's received from, and then our IP address is actually right here. Okay, so we'll copy that, paste it right in, and hit go. And then it spits back a score, and thankfully we're at a pretty good percentage there. It's actually, we'll talk a little bit more about what that percentage means here in a second. Let's go back to the... So again, all you need to do to use SenderScore is create an account, find your IP address. Again, it's a little tricky, but once you're comfortable looking at that code, you can easily find it. And once you've got your IP, it's pretty much the same, unless you change your email service provider. And then enter in that IP and then calculate what your score is. Now the score is not a percentage. So again, we had 97. That's not necessarily saying that 97% of the emails that we send get to the inbox. It's actually much higher than that, but it's more of a percentile, or it's kind of a ranking. So out of all the people that send email in the world, we are in the 97th percentile. Okay. So why is our score not 100%? And if you're asking that question, that's a good thing. No, there's not a lot of people that have a 100. So, but the reason that you might find a score lower than 100 is because of random complaints, or complaints as a percentage of the overall number of emails that were sent, and unknown recipients, also known as bounces, and then rejected attempts. So just bad email addresses. So the quality of the list is actually very telling as to what your sender score is going to be. Okay. So if you don't have a fantastic sender score, if it's in the low 90s or 80s or even in the 70s and things like that, here's a couple things that you might want to consider doing to improve your score. Number one is just clean the list. It's probably just an indication that your list isn't in great shape. For those of you who use homegrown tools or tools that have been developed in-house, this is often an issue. One of the things you want to do is take a look at the last time that you cleaned the list, took out those who bounced, or obviously make sure that you get those unsubscribes out. That should be done within 10 days of them unsubscribing anyway, just based on canned spam rules. But the easiest thing to do is just make sure that your list is clean and you're sending to a group of people that actually want to receive your email. If you're using again, a homegrown platform or a tool that isn't doing a great job for you in terms of a sender score. Oftentimes it's not necessarily the tool's fault, it's more the quality of the list, but just consider switching to another platform. So there's a lot of different platforms out there. The ones on this slide on the left are a little bit more for small business, and the ones on the right are more enterprise size. If you're from an email marketing tool company and you don't see your logo up here, don't be upset. Not that we don't love you too, but these are all clients that are, I'm sorry, tools that I've used, and I know for sure that they care about the quality of the list and sender score and things like that. So deliverability is a big issue for all these folks. The last area that you might consider doing, just overall, just taking a look and taking a step back and looking at augmenting your program. So what is your value proposition with email marketing? What is it that you provide to people via email that no one else does? Or how is it better than your competitors? And if it's not better, then think about ways to improve it. Segment wisely. So if you've got all of your emails receiving the same thing, and you've got a pretty good size list, let's say over 5,000 or whatever, not huge, but decent size, you might want to consider segmenting that list a little bit, because not everybody's alike, and not everyone's probably going to want to receive the same information. So determine how you should split that list up, whether it be people who are absolute brand enthusiasts and advocates of your business versus those that are casual observers or purchasers of your product and service, products, service lines. Again, try to think about what is most relevant for the individual and then group those individuals into meaningful segments. The other area is think about how to gather and produce content. So it might be time for a refresh in terms of the content that you provide and the design of your email templates and even how you produce that content. Sometimes maybe you're sending too often or not enough, and that can actually impact delivery and people's response to your emails. And then the last area is just think about how you're measuring email. If you're not measuring it, it's very difficult to improve your email marketing program or any marketing program for that matter. So think about what metrics are important for your specific program, and then make sure that you're constantly improving those, or at least making adjustments with the thought to improve those. All right, that's about it. Let us know in comments if you have any questions about SenderScore. Thanks very much.